The Finger Eater. It was a dark and stormy night, and the small town of Briarwood was shrouded in an eerie silence. The rain was falling in sheets, and the wind was howling through the trees. It was the perfect night for a ghost story. In the heart of Briarwood was a large, old mansion that had been abandoned for many years. The locals believed that it was haunted by the ghost of a young girl who had died tragically in the house. They say that her ghost still roamed the halls of the mansion, seeking revenge on those who had wronged her. One day, a young woman named Emma moved into the town. She was a beautiful and kind-hearted girl who quickly became the talk of the town. She rented a small house on the outskirts of Briarwood, which was surrounded by thick woods. Emma was happy in her new home, but something strange started happening to her. Every night, she would wake up with bruises all over her body, but she had no idea how she got them. She went to the doctor, but they couldn't find anything wrong with her. Her friends and neighbors also noticed that she seemed to be getting more and more withdrawn as time went on. But the strangest thing of all was that whenever Emma left her house, a ghostly figure seemed to be following her. It was the ghost of a young girl with long, tangled hair and a pale face. Her eyes were empty and hollow, and she had a menacing grin on her face. Everyone in Briarwood could see the ghost, except for Emma. They tried to tell her about it, but as soon as they started talking about the ghost, they would start bleeding from their eyes, nose, and ears until they dropped dead. It was as if the ghost was preventing anyone from telling Emma about her presence. One day, Emma decided to take a walk through the woods. She loved the sound of the rain falling on the leaves, and the way the mist seemed to cling to the trees. But as she walked deeper into the woods, she started to feel a sense of unease. Suddenly, she felt something heavy on her shoulders, like a weight pressing down on her. She tried to shake it off, but it wouldn't budge. She turned around to see what it was, but there was no one there. The ghostly figure was sitting on her shoulders, invisible to her. Emma was terrified, but she didn't know what to do. She ran back to her house, but the ghostly figure followed her, clinging to her shoulders all the while. She tried to call for help, but the phone line was dead. As she entered her house, the ghostly figure started to whisper in her ear. It spoke in a language that Emma couldn't understand, but she knew it was malevolent. She could feel its breath on her neck, and its icy fingers digging into her flesh. Emma was in a state of shock, but she knew she had to do something. She went to the town library and started researching about ghosts and hauntings. She read about how ghosts could attach themselves to people and drain their energy, and how they could only be removed through certain rituals. She decided to perform one of the rituals, even though it was risky. She went to the abandoned mansion in the heart of Briarwood, where the ghost was said to have originated. She lit candles and incense, and started chanting a prayer that she had found in an old book. Suddenly, the ghostly figure appeared in front of her, its hollow eyes staring right at her. But Emma didn't flinch. She continued to chant the prayer, and the ghostly figure started to fade away. As the ghostly figure disappeared, Emma felt relieved and thought that the ghost was finally gone, but little did she know that it was only the beginning of her nightmare. The ghost had been an evil entity, and by performing the ritual, Emma had become its enemy. It started to haunt her every moment, making her life a living hell. Emma felt like she was losing her mind, and she started to do strange things. One night, Emma woke up in the middle of the night with a craving for something she had never felt before. She felt an irresistible urge to eat fingers, especially those of children. She tried to resist, but the craving was too strong. She started sneaking into houses and taking the fingers of children while they slept. Emma had become a monster, and the townspeople started to notice that something was not right with her. They began to fear her and stayed away from her. One day, a man who claimed to be a messenger of God came to the town. He said that he had been sent to defeat the evil entity that had been plaguing the town for years. The townspeople were skeptical at first, but they decided to give him a chance. The messenger of God went to the abandoned mansion in the heart of Briarwood, where the evil entity was said to reside. He lit candles and started chanting prayers. Suddenly, the entity appeared in front of him, but the messenger of God didn't flinch. He continued to chant the prayers, and the entity started to take shape. It was a devil, and it had been using the ghostly figure as a pawn to terrorize the town. The devil started to attack the messenger of God, but he fought back with all his might. He managed to defeat the devil, and it vanished into thin air. As the devil disappeared, Emma's mind cleared, and she realized what she had become. She was horrified at the thought of what she had done and decided to turn herself into the authorities. Emma was tried for her crimes, but the townspeople were merciful. They knew that she had been under the influence of the devil and had not been in control of her actions. They sentenced her to spend the rest of her life in a monastery, where she could atone for her sins. And so, Emma spent the rest of her life in prayer and contemplation, hoping to make amends for the terrible things she had done. The townspeople eventually forgave her, and she became a symbol of redemption and forgiveness in the town of Briarwood. In the end, the messenger of God had saved the town from the devil's influence, and the people of Briarwood could finally live in peace.